bring some freedom is coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters, welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I'm your host, Afro Elite. Before we get started, brothers and sisters, please make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, like button, share button. All that helps the reach and the growth of the channel. And for everything that you all do to help this channel, I sincerely appreciate it very, very much. Make sure that you guys, if you guys are in here, if you can do me a favor, retweet this, repost this, let a friend know, let your sister, your brother, your all of them, let them all know, okay? We ain't talked about Chicago in a little bit. Hold on for 1 second. Just got to make sure all the links go out, because now some people are saying that YouTube is, I'm not going to say it, but you know how they go. You know how they do. So I got to make sure we get all our advertising links out, all right? Shout out to the people in here. I see you, Sandra. I see you, Quincy, Blueberry Muffin, Billy. See you. Thank you very much. All right. So the last time we talked about Chicago was at the very, very end of December. And I pulled up the fact that they were saying that Chicago's gotten so cold that they almost want to go back home. I remember saying this, and I knew for a fact at that particular point in time, Chicago had not really gotten cold. Not the cold it can get, all right? I remember saying that. Let me show you. I remember I pulled this clip up just to show you how right I was, because I knew this clip was going to age well. Look at this. Now, hold on. First, so y'all know, for the people who have not been to Chicago or anything like that, Chicago goes below zero. And it's not a new thing. It's not a surprising thing. Yes, it's in the 30s, around that, which is chilly, but that is not nearly the cold Chicago can get, all right? 30 degrees is something they would never see in their homeland. That's why they're all like, this is freezing. 30 degrees is a chilly day if you're used to it. But Chicago's cold can literally stay at a below zero level for a minute. It's not uncommon for you to leave your house in the degrees be in the single digit. That's not uncommon at all, and that has not happened yet. Nor have we had a significant amount of like snow, because Chicago also will get blizzards too. All right, we've not really had that yet. So if they think they're in panic mode now, they think that now, I'm telling you, when the winter really hits, when it really set in, it's going to be a whole nother thing. Now, remember, listen, I said it at that point. It was only like 30. It was like a small little snow thing. And it was so uncomfortable for them. They were talking literally about going home. All right. Now, everybody from Chicago, y'all know the last couple days was freezing. Today is not. It feels actually good today, to be very honest, in comparison to what it was the last couple of days. Like, it was like dangerous weather type freezing, like record-breaking freezing levels. All right. Before, when it was just a little snow, they were talking about, I think we got to go home. I don't know if we can take this. Listen to this. This is an article they did from last year. Oh, come on. Can you play? What the hell?
Volunteer Luciana Diaz says the Halloween day snow was a reality check for many living at the police stations.
Now, so y'all know, around here, it did snow on Halloween. Slightly. It was a little like flurry almost on Halloween.
Snow day, it was freezing for everybody. And I told them, that's nothing. This is nothing, guys. You should start looking for shelter or go to other state, other city.
With the realization of a cold winter ahead, combined with the lack of shelter and jobs, many migrants we spoke with at the 1st and 12th District police stations say if given the opportunity, they would leave Chicago for another city. Diaz says some migrants even want to go back to their home country.
Now, a lot of people might have missed that significant point. Let's talk about how significant what she said was. Let me replay it, and then we're going to talk about that little point right there.
Another city. Diaz says some migrants even want to go back to their home country.
They have a
some migrants, it's literally, this is what they're saying. It's so cold. Some migrants want to go back to their home country. But I thought their home country was terrible, and they're asylum seekers seeking refuge in another country because of all the alleged oppression and danger in their home country, because that's what it means to be an asylum seeker. Remember when I asked the Alderman Vasquez, I'm all like, how do you know exactly that these people are asylum seekers? They're just claiming they're asylum seekers. How do you know? Because to be an asylum seeker, you have to be fleeing, because they are fleers. You have to be fleeing your country to seek refuge in another country that's safer, because your country is so dangerous for you due to a political climate or a weather climate disaster or something like that. That's really the only way. So for you to tell me that with a little bit of snow and maybe like 50 degrees, it's that uncomfortable that you're willing to go home, that disproves that these asylum seekers were ever really asylum seekers. Because if they were really asylum seekers, it doesn't matter how cold Chicago, New York, Colorado, which all three of those places get very cold. But it doesn't matter how cold any of those places get, you wouldn't go home because home is allegedly dangerous for you, right? That's what makes sense if they were telling the truth about being asylum seekers. Right there, a lot of people didn't catch that part. Right there, it's proof that these people are not asylum seekers. These people are opportunists who thought Chicago was going to be the lick, Chicago was going to be the move. So these people came to Chicago thinking that they was going to get jobs, they was going to live it nice, which essentially in comparison to where they were living before, they really have. But they thought they was going to be cool. They thought everything was going to be sweet. They was going to get nice jobs with good benefits and a nice house and all of this stuff. They thought it was going to be sweet. But turns out it really wasn't. It wasn't sweet for them at all. That's why they want to go back, because they're not used to it. You have to understand the where they're coming from, like El Salvador and Mexico and all of these places. These places really, some of these people have never even seen snow. So for them to come up here and it's snowing, they're really not used to that. Okay, up here we're used to like super hot days over 100 degrees, super cold days below 0 degrees. We got this mix of everything. They don't have that. They're used to things being consistently warm. Even during the winter, it's used to being warm. They came over here. Now they're all like, hey, you know what? I feel so uncomfortable. I could just go. And I think we should assist them with that. I think we should have helped them leave, to be very honest with you. But that quote right there, that they're saying that they're willing to leave and go back to their own countries, which was only really going to be temporary. They were going to go back while it was cold. They were going to go back while it was cold. And then they thought like, okay, well, during, April, May, when it starts getting warm again, we're just going to go back to Chicago and we're going to just beg for more money. That's what they thought. But that clip proves these people are not asylum seekers, because they're not acting like it.
An American dream, for in my opinion, is a fake American dream. So if they asking me a lot for if I know somebody who can buy a ticket flight for them to come back to Venezuela.
Sixth-Ward Alderman Will Hall, who traveled to the border a few weeks ago, says word is spreading on social media among migrants that Chicago may not be the best place to come, and border nonprofits.
I wish that word would have spread faster. I wish that word would have spread a lot faster than what it has.
Say not as many people are asking to come to Chicago.
Well, people are beginning to get informed that it's cold, the opportunities are scarce, and that unless you want to sleep on a concrete mattress, don't come. And that's what those who have come seeking asylum have said.
Jorge Barrera has been living at a police station for 6 months.
No tenemos el dinero.
With no opportunity to work here, the 39-year-old says he would leave, but he doesn't have the money or luxury to pack up and go to warmer places like California, Texas, or Miami.
Well, hold on. I thought these people were asylum seekers. That's enough of that. I thought these people were asylum seekers. These people claim on the news that, and the alderman, remember, I went to Vasquez and I asked him, these people are claiming to be asylum seekers, yet every time you hear them speak, I went to them directly. Nobody else has actually gone to them directly at the police station, interviewed them, and asked them, why are you here? What are the rules for you to be here? What is the pay? I've done that. Nobody else, fine where somebody else has done that. I did that. Nobody else has did that. I went there and I asked them, okay, well, why are you guys here? What is the process of you guys being here? They said they're here for jobs. They're here for jobs. That is it. All right. That's the only reason why they're here. They thought that this was going to be an economic come up for them. And now they want to go back because they're like, okay, the job, what's that word for it? I can't believe I forgot it. The job, like certifications and cards and stuff like that. Visas, the work visas, you guys aren't really giving that like we thought. And now it's a little bit chilly. So we want to go home. This proves they're not in no danger. They were never in any danger of going home. It's not dangerous. They're broke. That's it. They're broke. They're lazy. These are lazy people. Okay, while they're coming over here trying to tell us to pull ourselves up by our bootstrap and they want to work, there's so much work to do at home. Y'all can go home. I promise there's so many houses at home. The weather is good at home and you guys get to work, but they are lazy. They're coming over here and they like to tell us how we need to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. These people over here, they do piss poor work. The quality of their work is terrible. They complain the whole time. And they doing that because they get consistent hours or little benefits and stuff like that. They don't really put in no work. They're not really there for sacrificing and being hard. That's a false stereotype. These are lazy, and now they're little cowards. They're little chilly cowards who are freeloading because they know for a fact the government, the United States of America, the government is going to give them a bigger boost so they can live a comfortable life because they're not willing to go home and put in that work and make it for themselves. That's what they are. They know, yeah, I mean, I can work and I can put a somewhat low, piss poor quality job in, but the government benefits I'm going to keep getting, forever getting, that's going to subsidize and that's going to make up for the amount of money I'm not going to be able to make because I don't have any skills and I am not talented and I am lazy. This is why. That's why. That's why. That's the whole reason why. Now, it's gotten so cold in Chicago that now the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, is now begging Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, to stop sending them over here. Let's take a look at this. This is an article. We're going to go through it. All right. Hold on. Okay. You guys see it? Scroll up a little bit. Chicago scrambles to shelter migrants in dangerous cold as Texas governor refused to stop drop-offs. If you guys want to really blame anybody, if they really want to blame anybody, who they need to be blaming is number one, Joe Biden. That's who they need to be blaming. They're sitting there blaming Abbott, which I'm not a supporter or I'm not a fan or anything like that of Abbott, but they're sitting up there blaming Abbott for sending them over there, but they're not blaming Biden for allowing them to come in the country in the first place. It's Biden's fault, really. Now, besides that, it is J.B. Pritzker's fault and it is Brandon Johnson's fault, but primarily it's Biden's fault because Biden is stopping the governor from stopping them from coming over here in the first place. All right. So this is Biden's mess, but let's continue. Let's read what it has to say. It says, hoping to halt migrant drop-offs as extreme weather plagues Chicago, Illinois. Democratic governor warned in a letter Friday to his GOP counterpart in Texas that sending migrants now to the Windy City could cost lives, adding to the already deadly toll of the migrant crisis. So now they send up there like, hey, please just stop sending them over. Stop sending them over here. They've been asking for a minute. Now they're sitting up there like, it could cost them lives. First off, let's be very honest. These asylum seekers that you guys claim were asylum seekers, they risked their own life coming over here. They risked everything coming over here. They're adults. They have agency, except the ones who are bringing children. But most of them, and we've shown you, most of them are adults. They're not children. They're not elderly. Most of them are fully grown adult males who chose to come over here. If you choose to come over to Chicago and Chicago is below zero and you freezing your ass off, it was your choice. Not a single person forced them to come over here. If you take us, me and everybody listening live in the chat room, if we took the clothes on our back and just went to Antarctica, we can't complain because we volunteered to do that. We actually broke the law to do that if we did, but we didn't. So they really can't complain. Ain't nobody feeling sympathy. Continuing though, let's continue. It says, quote, while action is pending at the federal level, I plead with you for mercy for the thousands of people who are powerless to speak for themselves. Damn, J.B Pritzker. Now that's what J.B Pritzker wrote. He's pleading for mercy. Bro, tell them to stop coming. Close the gates. Turn the buses around. Hold on. Mute my phone. Turn the buses around. Nobody's forcing them to. I plead with. He's making it seem like Abbott is kidnapping folks and shit, sending them to Chicago. I'm gonna be very honest with you. I can't even really get mad at Abbott. If y'all coming over here, I'm gonna send them someplace else too. I do the same thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do the same damn thing. All right. Continuing. It continues to say, please, while winter is threatening vulnerable people's lives, suspend your transport. Do not send more people to our state. Okay, now he's begging, he's pleading for mercy for him. Yeah, okay. Continues, your callousness, sending buses and planes full of migrants in this weather. Now, let's highlight the word planes here, right? Let's highlight the word planes. They're sending planes. Now, when you see the news, you don't see any planes. You only see the buses. They're only showing you buses. They're not showing you planes. When I'm telling you, a lot of people they're coming over specifically from what's that? O'Hare Airport. I forgot it, but there's two airports here. They're O'Hare Airport. They're not showing you that. Some of them are not coming over here poor and destitute, like everybody is saying. They sit up there coming over here on nice jets, first class, drinking champagne and peanuts and eating peanuts on the way over here. So let's not be confused. But he's sending and this allows you to know when they tell you about the number of migrants that are coming over here, they don't mention the fact that there's a significant amount of them coming over here on planes. They only show you buses. So they're trying to show you something and give you numbers that don't really add up. Now, as we continue, your callousness sending buses and planes full of migrants in this weather is now life-threatening to every one of the arrivals. He continued, hundreds of children and families, health and survival are at risk due to your actions. No, they are not. They are due to Joe Biden's actions. Joe Biden is the one who allowed them to come over here. Joe Biden is the one who is preventing them from not coming over here. Now, this is the same Joe Biden who, when the Haitians tried to come over here in 2021, Joe Biden had white men on horseback whip them back to their country. This is the same Joe Biden who said not a single one of they black ass immigrants can come over here. That Joe Biden is allowing all of them without restriction, without rule, without regulation to come over here. So this is his fault. All right. And it's your fault, J.B. Pritzker, because you are sitting up there allowing this. Now, it continues. However, Governor Greg Abbott's administration has doubled down on its mission since 2022 to dispatch migrants north from Texas via bus and plane to cities led by Democrats, including Chicago, New York, and Denver. These are the main cities that they're sending them to, the Democrat-led cities, right? Which all happen to be very cold cities in the wintertime. Chicago, New York, and Denver will get very cold in the wintertime. Okay, so that's really bad for them. Continue to provide, quote, provide support to our overrun and overwhelmed borders community. His spokesman, Andre Mahaleris, that I think that's like a Hispanic name maybe, Mahaleris, told CNN Friday, noting, quote, Governor Pritzker was all too proud to call Illinois the, quote, the most welcoming state in the nation until Governor Abbott began transporting migrants to Chicago. Can't say he's wrong. You can't say he's wrong. I'm going to be very, very honest, because the Democrats, J.B. Pritzker, he was all like, man, Illinois is so welcoming to immigrants, and Illinois is so welcoming. We allow everybody to come over here. And Abbott was like, oh, bet. You sure about that? Oh, bet. All right. He probably got a country voice. All right, then. All right. If you sure about that, then. If you say so. That's what he was. That's what he was on. He put his words to the test. And now now Pritzker is begging him to stop. Hey, don't put your foot in your mouth. Pritzker, don't put your foot in your mouth. Now it's saying Chicago's wind chill is forecast to plummet by Tuesday morning to 32 below zero cold. So extreme, it could cause frostbite on exposed skin in as few as 10 minutes, according to CNN Weather. For those unaccustomed to such bone-chilling cold, according to migrants who often arrive with only the clothes on their back, it can be life or death challenge. Okay, well, if it get, first off, yeah, and it did get I'm telling you guys, this is like a winter chill going through the nation right now. It is record breaking. It is literally breaking records. Chicago hasn't been this cold in years. The last time Chicago had a cold this significant was during the polar vortex. That's when Jussie Smollett was trying to get a Subway sandwich and got beat up. That's the last time it was that cold. Maybe Jussie Smollett is out there trying to get a sandwich. I don't know. Maybe he's cursed or something like that. Maybe it has something to do with that. But Chicago has not been cold in years. All right. So this is a very bad winter for them to come. It continues to say, Chicago shelters lately have been so full, incoming migrants were kept at a designated, quote, landing zone with minimal access to food and sanitation, and only parked Chicago Transit Authority buses for temporary heat. There has been about 140 migrants on those buses, Democratic Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson said Friday, down from a high of more than 300. Now, to be so that means, what that means is that there's like a couple of buses and they're jamming those buses. There's like it's so cold and they don't have any room for them to go anywhere else, that imagine 140 people on a bus. Buses hold about 50, maybe 52, a little bit, depending on the size of the bus. It holds about 50 certain people comfortably. Imagine if you get on a bus and it's not 10 extra people, which is a very crowded bus. Imagine if the bus is literally doubled. Imagine just if there's 100 people on one bus, not a huge big party bus, but just a normal bus that you take to go back and forth to work. That is insane. And they're doing that because the buses have heats and stuff like that. Even assuming that these buses are bigger than the normal CTA buses, even assuming that, that's still a crazy number to have on a small number of buses. Now, I'm assuming that it wasn't 300 people on one bus, maybe a few, but that's still a huge number of people. That's a huge number of people on a bus. Continuing, it says, as to whether conditions at the landing zone were acceptable, Johnson said, "Look, that's a good question. It's certainly not acceptable for the Texas governor to send people to the city of Chicago, but we're meeting the moment." Okay. All right. He's a damn shill. So he gonna just say whatever the damn party wants him to say. Whatever the Democratic Party wants Johnson to say, Johnson's gonna say it. Johnson don't have any free will of his own. Continuing. Over the last few weeks, mayors of New York, Chicago, and Denver have been irked by, quote, rogue buses from Texas dropping off migrants by the thousands and tried in their own jurisdiction to slow the surge by enacting mandates and requirements for bus operators to coordinate arrivals under the threat of impound fines and even jail time. So all of these people who are like Chicago with Johnson and before Lori Lightfoot, New York with Eric Adams, Denver, forgot the mayor of Denver, but they were all like, oh, we're all Democrats and we're so welcoming and these are asylum seekers and come on in and we got room for everybody. We'll make room for everybody. They've all been having meetings, y'all. They've been having meetings to try to create legislation so they can slow the buses down, because they've asked and begged Abbott to not send any more buses. And Abbott's like, as long as they keep coming through Texas, I'ma send them y'all way. Ain't nothing y'all can do. And Biden ain't helping. Biden ain't giving no federal aid or nothing like that. Biden said, hey, I got foreign problems to do. Okay. Ukraine is asking for more money. I can't help y'all. Y'all deal with it. But they still coming. And ain't nothing y'all can do about it. Y'all fix it. So they've been having meetings so they can find legislation to stop them from coming over here. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it is. They're talking about the bus operators need to have jurisdiction. They need to coordinate so they can plan, so they can have some type of heads up and some type of preparation in order for them to handle these buses of what they call asylum seekers. They're talking about if a bus drops them off over here without letting the city government know, the bus can be impounded. The bus can, they can put tickets and fines on those buses and even jail time. They're sending them even jail time. They said, man, if you come over here and you don't let us know ahead of time so we can plan it out, your ass going to jail. That's how deep it is. They are arresting the bus drivers. That's how bad it's gotten in these cities. Now, continuing, leaders of several Chicago suburbs even voted this month to restrict buses from dropping off migrants without notice. While charter buses have dropped off, now charter buses, they are bigger than regular buses. So I think a charter bus can hold maybe 60 people. They still jam-packed those buses. But I think charter buses are bigger than regular buses. So we all keep track, okay? It says, while charter buses have dropped off migrants in New Jersey to avoid rules aimed at curbing arrivals in New York. Damn. So the bus is like, hey, we getting paid by dropping them off, okay? So what we gonna do, we gonna go to New Jersey, we gonna drop them off right at the edge, and they just gonna walk over the border, and you gonna have to deal with them. You said we can't park in New York? Okay, fine. We gonna park right outside New York, drop them all off, and they just gonna walk in New York. That's how slick they are. Yeah, these people, Eric Adams has been failing because he has no jurisdiction over New Jersey, and now the buses are going to New Jersey and dropping them off in New Jersey, and they're just waltzing all into the city of New York. A lot of that was trying to happen in Chicago, and they were dropping them off in the nearby suburbs, but the suburbs weren't having that at all. They weren't having that at all. Suburbs ain't having that at all. You ain't gonna drop them off over here. So that's what the suburbs were doing. The suburbs like, hey, that's Chicago's problem. Y'all deal with it. That's y'all problem. Y'all deal with it. Then it continues. Meanwhile, in New York, homeless migrants starting Tuesday will be subject to a new 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew at 4 respite centers managed by the city's emergency management department, a spokesperson for City Hall told CNN on Monday. Damn, it's about time. They've been sitting up there wilding for years, upping the crime rate for years. They've been doing that for years. So it's about time. All right, now this is one of the landing zones that they're at in Chicago. It says, in November, Chicago implemented a 60-day shelter stay policy based on migrants' arrival dates so as not overcrowded the shelters and to provide asylum seeker service while they set up long-term housing. Now, remember, y'all, when they first started coming over here, everybody, this is what Lightfoot was saying. It's just temporary. That's what they were saying. It's just temporary. Y'all, come on, it's uncomfortable now, but this is just till we can find a place for them to really stay. They're not really going to stay here like that. All of this stuff is really temporary. Now they're starting to admit, oh yeah, this is long term. They're not really going anywhere. This is their new house now. This is where they're going to live now. So it was never, and this is what we've been saying for really the past year. It was never temporary. They lied. It was never temporary. Chicago is now trying to figure out a way for them to stay long term. Now, continuing, it says, but due to harsh weather, city officials suspended that limit and made some exceptions to the policy, Johnson said Friday. As for Abbott's position, quote, instead of complaining about migrants sent from Texas, where we are also preparing to experience severe winter weather across the state, Governor Pritzker should call on his party leader to finally do his job and secure the border, something he continues refusing to do. His spokesman, Maharalas, told CNN in a statement Friday. Can't say he's wrong. The party leader is Biden. Biden could have stopped this a long time ago. Everybody, Abbott, Johnson, Pritzker, the mayor of the Denver, all of them are suffering due to their party leader, Biden. So while they're sitting up there making it seem like somebody, because Pritzker, he's loyal to the party. Pritzker's not going to make Biden seem like the bad guy. The only person who's been slightly brave enough to mention the fact that Biden is wrong has been Eric Adams. Eric Adams threw his hand in the air eventually, and Eric Adams was like, damn, that's enough. But now, mind you, they've been sending most of them to New York, at least in the beginning. Most of them were going to New York. And eventually it broke Eric Adams. And then Eric Adams like, damn, Biden ain't returning my calls. Biden ain't picking up the phone. And Biden keeps sending them over. I'm sitting up there texting Biden is on red. Biden ain't. So Eric eventually he broke code and he said something, but most of them know it's Biden's fault, and most of them have not said anything except Eric. And still, Eric ain't really went as hard as he should have, to be very honest. To be very, very honest, but still. Now, it continues to say, quote, until President Biden steps up and does his job to secure the border, Texas will continue transporting migrants to sanctuary cities to help our local partners respond to this Biden-made crisis, he added. I can't say that if I was in that position, that you can't get mad at them for taking that stance on it. You can't get mad at them. It is a Biden-made crisis. We were not having this crisis prior to Biden. This is a Biden-made crisis. Biden, the same way he did with the Haitians, Biden could have got rid of this situation overnight. Overnight, he could have got rid of this situation. But he didn't, and he's refusing to. It says, over the weekend, the bodies of 3 migrants, a woman, and 2 children were recovered by Mexican authorities after they drowned in the Rio Grande in Eagle Pass. Rio Grande and Eagle Pass. Now, before we continue, that's unfortunate. Of course, we don't condone children passing away. That's always unfortunate. My condolences. I can honestly say that. However, I will add the fact that these migrant parents, what you call migrant parents, these illegal aliens, are absolutely one of the abusive parents, abusive, terrible, horrific parents for putting their children in that situation. Because they drowned trying to cross the border. Why are you putting your little children in that situation? Don't blame America. Don't blame Biden. Don't blame Abbott. Don't blame nobody. Well, I mean, Biden's the one who's giving them the invite, but it's really the parents' fault. It's the parents' fault. The parents are the ones who are forcing their kids to come over here. They're neglectful. That's abusive. They should be arrested, to be very honest with you. As much as it's terrible that the children have to suffer due to the parents' laziness and cowardice. That's what it is. Those parents are lazy, pathetic cowards who are putting their own children in danger so they can have an easier life. It's 100% their fault. It is 100% their fault. Continuing. It says that they drowned in Rio Grande in El Paso, Texas, very recently, the epicenter of the migrant crisis, in an area where state authorities have blocked the U.S. Border Patrol from accessing miles of the U.S.-Mexico divide, officials say. Tensions have been high between state and federal officials as the White House and lawmakers challenge Abbott's policies, including the use of razor wire along the border, and a new law that makes entering Texas illegally a state crime. That shouldn't be a new law. That shouldn't be a new law. That entering the state illegally should already be, by default, be a crime. Talking about some new law. It's a new law, and Abbott is being bad for implementing this new law. What the hell? No. How is it a bad law for if they're entering the state illegally, which most of them are? If they're entering the state illegally, it should be against the law. The hell? Continuing, it says the Biden administration on Friday, The Biden administration on Friday complained to the U.S. Supreme Court about the state blocking Border Patrol from a city park along the river and asked the High Court to quickly intervene. The state on Saturday told the High Court it was, quote, working promptly to ensure Border Patrol has access to a boat ramp at Shirley Park. The White House called the recent migrant deaths tragic, quote, tragic, a characteristic Abbott's directives on the border as, quote, political stunts. Angelo Hernandez, White House Assistant Press Secretary, said Sunday, quote, while we continue to gather facts about the circumstances of these tragic deaths, one thing is clear. Governor Abbott's political stunts are cruel, inhumane, and dangerous. U.S. Border Patrol must have access to the border to enforce our laws, Hernandez told CNN in a statement. Listen, we can talk about how bad this is. Before we do that, before we get to that, because there's still more. Before we get to that, let me get to some of the super chats. Shout out to our good brother Christopher Ellis. Shout out to you, the good support. He's sent the $5 super chat. Says, I've never been so happy to see winter come through. Hey, I'm gonna be honest. It's been cold. I don't know exactly where you're from, brother Chris, but it's been cold here. But if this is making the opposition, these buffer class, if these are making these people feel uncomfortable, I can bundle up. I'm used to it. I can bundle up. I put a hat on, put a couple jackets on, a coat, and I'm straight. I'm cool. I stay in the house. I'm cool. I got gloves and everything. I'm cool. Thank you very much for your support. Then we have Tell It Like It Is for the $9.99 super chat. He says, the something that made your laugh, it says, the something that makes your laugh will make you cry. And that applies to everyone involved in orchestrating this crap show. That's true. That's true. Everybody involved is 100% responsible. What they're trying to do is pass the blame. They're like, oh my God, Abbott, you're so bad, Abbott. And I'm not a supporter of Abbott. I'm not a supporter to any degree whatsoever. I am going to say what we're not going to do is this is a Biden-made crisis. We didn't have this to this degree prior to Biden coming over here. All right. So this is a Biden-made crisis, and he should be responsible primarily. Shout out to our good sister Antoinette, sends the $10 super chat. Says Chicago suburbs made an ordinance for illegal migrant buses. Penalties include a $10,000 fine plus $750 per passenger. I like that. I'm gonna be honest. I like that. It's time for people to thank you for your super chat. It's time for people to be punished. All right. It's a $10,000 fine and 750 people, and you know they coming in. It's 50 plus people on a bus per bus. Oh, that's a lot of good money. Y'all want to keep coming over here? Y'all gonna pay the price. This is what needs to happen. All right. Shout out to our good sister Blueberry Muffin for the $10 super chat. Says polar vortex. That's exactly. And the last polar vortex we had was super uncomfortable. Everybody panicked except Joseph Smollett. He was out there getting sandwiches. But besides that, everybody was panicking. Nobody knew what to do. Now we looking like, see, y'all ain't used to this, huh? Y'all ain't used to this. And we sitting up there rubbing our hands, keeping it warm, and they freezing. This is what they signed up for. Before we get mad and have any bit of sympathy, this is what they signed up for. Now, it's gotten a little bit warmer, and as it's getting warmer, now folks is coming out. Let me see, where's this clip? Now folks is coming out. Now they're trying to do something. Now I want you to pay close attention to what they say towards the very end. The very end is very significant in this part of the video. All right. Actually, I can't believe I forgot to do this. Hold on. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, Can't believe I forgot that. I always remember that. All right, check this out, y'all. Would you play already?
Slightly warmer weather made it more tolerable for migrants getting meals outside the cities.
Mind you, this was today. This happened today. This was today, y'all.
Largest shelter today. Reports of poor conditions at this Pilsen warehouse and the lack of transparency from the city prompted City Council's Latino caucus to demand answers from the mayor's office today.
We're also asking the city to be able to communicate with us so that we not only know the challenges, the concerns, the conditions, but also the needs so that we can also advocate so that we can get dignified conditions.
Following a meeting with the city, the mayor's office has promised 25th Ward Alderman Byron Sitio Lopez bi-weekly meetings to give him detailed reports about the shelter. Shortly after it opened last fall, complaints about the lack of bathrooms and insect infestation were brought to the city's attention, but not all alderpersons were informed.
Those are all challenges that any administration is going to make mistakes on. We want to make sure that there's improvement.
The Pilsen.
Remember, that's Alderman Vasquez. Remember, I checked him right after the city hall. Y'all remember that? And this man was stuttering and fumbling over his words.
Shelter was originally planned to house 1,000 new arrivals. It now holds 2,500. And because city money for
y'all hear that? It was originally planned. They set it up. They designed it to hold 1,000. Now it's holding 2,500.
Migrants is drying up. Mayor Brandon Johnson put a hold on opening new shelters, and there are discussions in downsizing current ones. All a big concern for.
So what's going on is that because remember, and this is why you guys need to subscribe so you don't miss anything, because we've been keeping track on this. Remember, in our last few broadcasts, we've been talking about that they're running out of money because the federal government is not giving them anything. They're running out of money, so much so that Johnson took out of the C-19, the pandemic relief fund, he took out $95 million on top of the tens of millions of dollars he's already given them. It's so much that as they keep coming and as they keep needing resources, because they're not adding to the economy in any way at all, they're just literally hogging and leeching off of resources. It's just it's like filling a bucket with holes in it. It's never going to be enough. So it's gotten so much so that they were trying to upscale and create more shelters and more space, but Johnson's like, hey, we out of money. We kind of broke. We don't have this money, at least right now, at least not until the next fiscal budget, which is going to be all the way in the summer of 2024. They don't have no money. So now Johnson is talking about downscaling. Now Johnson's talking about, hey, we're going to have to downscale. I don't know what to tell you. That's the situation they're in right now.
Alderman Andre Vasquez, the chair of City Council's Committee on Immigration and Refugee Rights.
If you're downscaling or right-sizing or whatever the shelters and you're losing beds, those are people that are going to be on the street. And it's actually going to cost the city more.
Vasquez.
Now, those are people who are going to be on the streets. Who made them come over here? Who made them come over here? Nobody asked them to come here. Nobody made them come here. They came off their own choice, their own volition, their own decision. It's their fault. Anything and everything that they go through, it's on them because they're the ones who broke the law to come over here.
Is proposing unifying a shelter system to include migrants and the homeless.
Instead of talking about new arrival funds, talking about homelessness funds to create a system that works no matter who you are.
Meantime.
Now, that was the significant part. Listen. Hold on, let me take it back.
Talking about homelessness funds to create a system that works no matter who you are.
So what they're going to do now is what they're going to do is they're going to sit up there and act like, oh, well, what we should do is we should combine the homeless funds and we should combine the immigrant funds and just put them all together and then just have everybody living in the same shelter. That's what he's saying. Let's
Time in the
finish
quest for more migrant funding, the Latino caucus is demanding better communication and coordination between the city, state, and the federal government.
Okay. What Vasquez is suggesting, what it really means is that because Chicago has certain money out. Y'all get me? Y'all got me? Okay. Am I good? Am I good? Somebody leaves a thumbs up if I'm good. I don't know what it just literally kicked me off. Everything. I had to just okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, all right. We're good. We good. I'm gonna edit that out post live or whatever the case is. Chicago has a certain amount of funds specifically for migrants, specifically for the migrants, asylum seekers, all that. And then they have a certain amount of funds for homelessness. Now, the funds they have for asylum seekers has always been super, super big, way bigger than the ones they've had for homeless. But what they're saying is they're running out of the funds that they have specifically designed for the migrants. They've been asking the federal government. They're not getting as much help as they really need, considering all of the conditions and all of the circumstances and how much money it takes to house and feed and clothe all of them. So what they're doing is now they're going to look at the homeless funds, and they're going to try to take out of the homeless funds for actual citizens. They're going to say, well, why don't we just combine the homeless funds and the immigrant funds all together, and then we'll help everybody. But once they combine them, they're just going to give all of that to the immigrants. All of that. Oh, they're just going to give it to the immigrants. They're doing that and say, well, we can help everybody. And then once they get a little bit of the homeless funds, because the thing is that with the homeless, that has a certain department as well, too. The people who are responsible for that. So they can ask for more money and say, no, it's not for the immigrants anymore. Now it's for the homeless. So then when they get more money from the homeless, which isn't going to be as much as they've been getting for the immigrants, but it's going to be something. When they get more money like that, then they're going to combine the money. That's their plan. That's what they think they're going to do. All right. I don't know why it kicked me out. That's weird. But some people are like, well, combining the homeless and all that stuff, which is messed up. But let me ask you something. When you look at stuff like this, do we really need them over here like that? Hold on, let me show you. While they're sitting up there taking money out of homeless people, now they're taking money from the homeless. Let's really look at this. Okay, this happened a couple days ago. Migrants staying in Chicago allegedly stole $3,000 in merchandise, cut off ICE electric monitoring device. So when they're coming over here saying, well, some of them are coming over with electric monitoring devices, they're cutting them off so they can steal and they can rob. They're literally cutting them off. These are the people that the aldermen and all that want us to feel bad for. Let's look at it. All right. Now, this looks like a adult man. Okay. These ain't no little kids coming over here. It says an Ecuadorian migrant staying in Chicago is accused of stealing thousands of dollars worth of merchandise from retail stores, as well as cutting off his electric monitoring device. Jamie, here we go with the names. And I practice this. This is crazy. Jamie Ubaldo Ubden Andrade, Lord, 32, is charged with 1 count of burglary and 1 count of retail theft. Now, when they want to talk about crime in Chicago, They don't ever bring this up when they're talking about burglaries, car theft, carjacking, robberies. They're all going up in Chicago. That's because of them. Let me ask you. Now, you know this is Fox News, and you know how anti-black Fox News is. When is the last time? Y'all really think about this. When is the last time you seen a mugshot of a black person for robbing or stealing? Let me just let that marinate in your head. Not just Chicago, in New York, in Los Angeles, in Atlanta. When is the last time? Think about it. You saw a mugshot for black people robbing a store or robbing a retail store or burglary or anything. It's been a little minute, ain't it? Now that you think about it, you say they lying about his age. He probably is lying about his age because you can't. He had a stressful life if he's 32. He probably is lying about his age. But now that you think about it, you ain't seen a mugshot of a black person for robbing, carjacking, and you know for a fact Fox News, they're the first people to post a black person's mugshot. You know that for a fact. So you know they ain't holding out. They ain't trying to spare no black people. So damn, with all of the upticks in carjacking, retail theft, burglary, all of that, it's seeming like the only people that we're seeing mugshots of are these illegal immigrants. These are the people causing the problem. It goes on to say, at about 7:37 p.m. Saturday, Oak Brook police officers responded to a call of a retail theft at the Macy's store located at 1 Oak Brook Center. According to prosecutors, Obandu Andre, I'm just going to say it, Obandu Andre allegedly entered the store and put on a jacket that had an approximate value of $396 and then left the store without paying for it. That's what they do. A lot of them do. They'll just walk in the store, they'll walk around, they'll put clothes on, and they'll just walk out the store. Especially in malls. They literally just, find some shoes, walk around, and walk out. Or a coat, or a hat, or anything. Okay? It says, a loss prevention officer confronted Obden Andre in the vestibule of the store, where he remained until Oak Brook officers arrived and arrested him. While searching Obden Andre's vehicle, officers allegedly located about $3,000 worth of suspected stolen merchandise along with rolls of tinfoil. Stealing tinfoil, y'all. Now the $3,000 is on top of the fact that he stole a damn near $400 jacket, which must have been a really nice jacket. It was a $400 jacket. Additionally, officers found an ICE electric monitoring device that Obden Andre allegedly cut off and a fake Washington driver's license. These people got fake licenses. These people cutting off their... Now, people are like, don't worry, ICE is following. ICE ain't doing really nothing. ICE ain't doing really nothing to get them folks. Because let me tell you, when if a black person was to cut off their electric monitoring device, the police would be there immediately. Immediately. When black people cut off their electric monitoring device, or they slip it out of their ankle or whatever, the cops are there in ASAP. Okay? These people they sitting up there like, okay, yeah, you can put it on, cutting it off, stealing, get a fake driver's license. Now somebody needs to ask the question that, of course, they're not going to ask. Where did he get that license from? Where did he get that license from? See, now when you ask that question, you're asking the question, it seems like a whole little criminal enterprise going on. Because I doubt that this person came over here and was able to make a fake license. Where did he get fake information, a fake driver's license from? Because that's a federal crime. To have fake licenses and IDs and stuff like that. That's against federal law. You can't do that. Where did he get that from? See, people don't want to ask about their connections. They want to arrest one person, but they're not asking yet, where are you getting all this stuff from? Where did you get a car from? Because in order to have a driver's license, it would make no sense unless you had a car. Who gave you a vehicle? Where did they get the vehicle from? See, we're asking the real questions that they're not asking. It makes you kind of scratch your head a little bit. It continues to say, quote, with the new year, our mission to protect DuPage County businesses and patrons remain the same, said DuPage County State's Attorney Robert Berlin. Contrary to popular belief, retail theft is not a victimless crime and has a far-reaching effect on the entire community. It is very simple. If you steal in DuPage County, you will be apprehended, charged, and prosecuted. On Tuesday, a judge granted the state's motion to deny pre-trial release for boy, this name, it throws me off. Obandu Andre. Lord, that name. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. Into that. So we're going to have to be honest, because a lot of these people are coming over, they're committing crimes, they're stealing, they're getting government identification. Now they're getting now of course they say he's 32 because of his government identification. I'm so very sure that he lied on his government identification. I am so very sure that he is not 32 years old. I'm very sure of that, to be very honest with you. Okay. But where is he getting this stuff from? Where a lot of them, and for whatever reason, they really like to go to the Oak Brook malls and steal from the Oak Brook malls. This is not our first time. We've been doing this for over a year. This is not their first time going to Oak Brook. They love going to Oak Brook and stealing from there. All right. Which is not in Chicago, mind you, for the people who don't know. That's not in Chicago. So they're getting vehicles from who? Because they're supposed to come. They're not supposed to have any money, allegedly. They're not supposed to have any information, allegedly. They're not supposed to have anything. Even if they get an Uber ride, they would have to have a phone and they would have to have a card. You have to have a bank account in order to pay for the Uber. Whose card are you using? Because you have to have a bank account. In order for you to have a bank account, let's really just be a detective. Let's connect the dots. Even if they were to use an Uber, in order to use an Uber, you have to have a debit or a credit card. In order for you to have a debit or a credit card, you have to have it by some type of bank. In order for you to have a bank account, you have to have legal identification. So if they're using Uber or anything like that, they still have to have some type of identification where they're getting these identifications from, where they're getting these licenses from. In order for you can't rent a car, lease a car, anything without some type of ID, insurance, and all that stuff. So all of that circles back to the fact that somehow, in some way, these people are getting false identification. These people are getting false bank accounts. These people are getting false debit cards or credit cards, or they're stealing other people's debit cards or credit cards. These people are getting false driver's license. These cars, whose car is that? See, they're not going to ask this question, but we're going to ask, whose car is that? Is that his car? He owns that car. How does he own that car? If it's not his car, whose car does that belong to? And how does he have that car? Now, we do know that they've been breaking into a lot of cars and they've been stealing a lot of cars. We do know that for a fact, but that's the article. If it is a fact, we don't know. But the article itself, it didn't mention that. The article didn't mention the fact that that was a stolen vehicle. So is it stolen? Is it not stolen? See, these are very important little aspects of information that they're not really letting out, because here's the thing. My theory is the fact that there's a lot of little pocket organizations that's been popping up talking about helping migrants, and all of a sudden these organizations are popping up, and you have Latino gangs in Chicago. And I have on good authority that a lot of these Hispanics are coming over and joining these gangs that have already been in Chicago, the Latin Kings. I'm not sure about other Hispanic gangs in like New York or whatever, but they have them. Okay. So they're coming over, they're joining gangs, they're going to different malls and stuff like that. Now let's just theorize. I'm not saying it's for a fact or anything, but let's just theorize. A lot of these people are all military age coming over. A lot of these people are soldiers, are plants, are sleeper soldiers coming over here from rival gangs. We talked about that before. From prison gangs, I'm sorry. We talked about that before. A lot of people are coming over here from the cartel. They're linking up with current gangs currently in these cities. They're getting information, fake cards, fake IDs, all the stuff that they need to go outside of the city limits and start robbing. And then they take it back to their gangs that they are a part of. And they're making a profit off of this stuff. They're breaking into cars. They're taking out the radio systems. They're taking out I think not the alternator. There's another thing, a part of the cars that they're taking out. I forget it off the top of my head. But they're breaking into the cars. They're taking the stuff out of the cars. If not just completely stealing the cars altogether. You know, they're taking the stuff, anything, personal items in the cars, taking all that stuff out, taking it back to their gang leaders, and then their gang leaders are making a profit. Okay. And let's be honest, there's a lot of, cops who are involved in this too. Let's be very, very clear. It's a lot of Chicago police. We know how corrupt they are. Cadillac converters. Thank you. Cadillac converters. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Cadillac converters. They're stealing a lot of them. It's no coincidence that as they're coming, the reports of thefts in Cadillac converters are also going up simultaneously. That's no coincidence. That is very deliberate. That's very deliberate. All right. The Chicago police, and I'm theorizing, I don't have any proof. Let's be honest. I don't have any proof, and it's important for me to say, if I don't have proof, it's important for me to say that I'm theorizing. But I theorize that Chicago police are in on it. That's why when they get stopped by police, they're police outside of the city of Chicago. Oak Brook, for folks, like I said, don't know, Oak Brook is outside, not far, but it's outside the city of Chicago. More than likely, the city of Chicago, they're coming in, if they're staying, mind you, if they're staying in police stations, police have been known for robbing people. They're staying in police stations. You break into a store or whatever, you buy a coat, you get some shoes. Oh, you can rob a police officer, especially in Chicago. You can be like, hey, I mean, if you don't tell on me, I got a nice watch. It was a few $100s. Here you go. Just say you didn't see me walk in with this. Chicago police, they'll turn a blind eye. Notice all of the times, and we've reported for over a year now, all of the times they've been breaking in and they've been stealing stuff and they've been robbing different Macy's. They hate Macy's. They rob Macy's all the time. All of these times they rob Macy's, notice it doesn't often be the Chicago police that catch them. Think about that for a second. A lot of them allegedly are staying in the Chicago Police Department. They're sleeping and living in the Chicago Police Department, yet the Chicago police aren't catching them. Yet most of the times they get caught is from outside of Chicago. That's really weird, don't you think? It's seeming like a lot of hands are in the pot. And then when somebody gets caught, they let the person who get caught with the bag, like this dude over here, he gets caught red-handed, and they don't really ask any questions about it. And I keep thinking, like, a lot of this stuff doesn't seem like one or two people are coming over here and they are just going to these alleged specific places, and they keep going to the same places. They keep going to Oak Brook. They keep going to Macy's. They keep going to these places. That's just really odd. You got to be smart enough to notice when something is a pattern. When something is a pattern, and when something is a pattern, you need to look at it as if it is a pattern. When something keeps happening in a specific order, when coincidences keep popping up in a very uniquely specific order, where it seems like multiple people can benefit, but only a few people are getting caught and punished. It's seeming like, and remember last year we reported the judges are letting them go a lot of times. Judges can be bought too. Now, of course, all of this is alleged. Of course, it's all alleged, but let's be honest. The judges just give them bonds, have the reconnaissance bonds, which means you're free to go. 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 It seems like the judges might be in on it. The police might be in on it. Now, as of right now, I'm stating right now, today is January 18th, 2024. We have no proof of this, so this is theory. But let's be honest, those dots do connect pretty well. Those dots do connect pretty well, don't you think? Our good sister brings it up in the chat room. Macy's has insurance. It could be where Macy's like, hey, man, we gonna lighten up on security. Y'all rob from us, we get our insurance money. It seems like a lot of hands is kind of getting a lot of paper. A lot of hands kind of getting greased up with this. It's just seeming a little bit too coincidental that these migrants are coming over here and they're just I don't know. Once I see a pattern of behavior by them, I'm starting to see, okay, maybe this is a little bit deeper. Maybe this is a little bit deeper than what the city of Chicago is letting on. Because I'm not a detective. I'm not a detective. I'm not no official media reporter or anything. But as I'm reading this, I'm thinking of questions. How am I'm not a detective. I'm not a police officer. I'm not a security guard at Macy's or on. I'm not none of that. Why am I thinking of these questions, but they're not thinking of these questions unless they don't want those questions to be answered? It's kind of what it's seeming like to me. Yeah, I am official. Thank you, brother. I am. I'm not an officer. I'm not an officer, but yeah, I appreciate that. I am. Yeah, but let's be honest. We're thinking of questions that they don't want to ask. It's not that they're not thinking of it. We're not that much smarter than them. We are smarter, but we're not that much smarter than them. It's just they don't want those questions being asked. Even Fox News, as anti-immigrant as Fox News pretends to be, Fox News ain't asking these deep questions. No. They're not doing that. So it's seeming like a lot of people are benefiting off of this. But all of this, as of today, is a theory. It's something that we're theorizing because we cannot prove that. It's very important to, if you cannot prove it, to just state it as a theory. Because when you state something as a fact, if you can't back it up with any sort of hard, concrete evidence, then it lessens your credibility. And that's not something that we do here. This channel has a lot of solid credibility that has been well earned over its lifespan. And that's because if it has not been officially proven, we don't say it's been proven. And that's what has this channel has so much credibility. So as of right now, we're stating this as a theory. The theory makes sense, but we are stating this as a theory. Now, brothers and sisters, that's what's going on in Chicago right now. They're combining the funds for the migrants, the funds for the migrants and the funds for the homeless. They're trying to combine those two things together. Okay. They're out there still committing crime. It's seeming like it's organized crime. It's really seeming like it's organized crime. I don't know what he was doing with the tinfoil, to be honest, but it's seeming like it's organized crime. They're freezing. The governor is begging them, to Abbott, to stop sending them over there. But all of them, because they're Democrats, they're too cowardly to say, Biden, what is wrong with you? Except Abbott. Now, Abbott, mind you, Abbott is the only one. He's the only one who was able to, who's called out Biden for sending them over without giving them the proper aid and resources to properly care for them. And now Abbott is going through lawsuits left and right like he's Donald Trump. These are very interesting coincidences, don't you think? These are very interesting coincidences, don't you think? Shout out again to our good brother, Tell It Like It Is, for the $5 super chat. He says they keep letting them go, but they'll lock up a brother. They'll lock a brother up for child support quick. Exactly. Oh, and when they lock you up, they ain't letting you go. They ain't letting you go. Thank you for that. They're not letting you go. Like I'm saying, it's a theory, but it seems a little bit too organized. Just I don't believe in repetitive coincidences. I don't believe in a pattern of coincidences. I don't think so. That just, logically, it don't make sense to me. You can't tell me they're moving the same way every single time, and it's just no. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. But that's what's going on in the city of Chicago right now. And remember, number one person who's at fault is Joe Biden. Number two, J.B. Pritzker. Number three, Brandon Johnson. Abbott, he don't have to send them over, but it's not his fault they're here in Chicago. It's Biden's fault. It's Biden's fault they're here in Chicago. It's Biden's fault they're in New York. And it's Biden's fault they're in Denver. It's Biden's fault that they're in this country. It's all Biden's fault. Now, brothers and sisters, make sure you guys follow me on my various social media pages. We had a good stream. We had a really good stream. I appreciate all of y'all for being here. I appreciate that. Thursday, ain't nothing else popping Thursday except Afro Elite. Afro Elite is the only thing of significance going on Thursday. Y'all might see a little something here or there Thursday. Ain't nothing significant going on but here. So you guys know that. So you guys are here. All right. Now, we're kind of going through a little bit of the shadow banning thing again. No surprise to anybody. No surprise. This is why it's important to be following me on my various social media platforms, which is Afro Elite on Instagram and the Afro Elite on Twitter. The links to both of those are in the description. This way you don't miss out on any content, because I always post when I'm going live or when I'm making a video. I always post that on my social media, so you don't miss out on that. All right. And don't forget, we've been growing so much. We've been growing tremendously and phenomenally because of all of us, because of all of you, us brothers and us sisters together. So make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button. We got a good number of thumbs up already. Make sure you guys, before y'all leave, you can do it right now. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that like button. Hit that whatever if you want to call it thumbs up, if you want to call it like, it's fine. Hit both those. Hit that subscribe button. Okay. And hit that notification button. That helps the algorithm. Hitting the notification button helps the algorithm. Now, most of the people who watch this channel, shout out to you all. Most of the people, about maybe 70%, like about 70% of the people who watch this channel, have at least some bit of the notifications on, because there's like 2 levels. They have some of them on. Okay. Also, I try to premiere it like at least an hour before. You can also have 2 notifications if you hit the notify me when you see it on your YouTube timeline. All right. But that helps the algorithm. All right. So hit your notification button as well too. We had a pretty good stream. Like I said, brothers and sisters, y'all have a good weekend. Y'all be safe. It's a little bit warmer, but it still is cold. So y'all stay warm, stay safe out there. All right. Y'all protect yourselves from these organized crime, migrants out there stealing, robbing, harming, doing all this crime. Y'all protect each other, protect yourself. Y'all stay warm out here. Y'all have a good weekend, a productive, fun weekend, my brothers and sisters. And with that being said, B1 salute to every single last one of you all. And of course, you all have a good one.